Welcome to Viewpoint, your program of personality, politicians, and perspectives, and the best cat in Oakland County. Sitting here on the console, warming herself up when I walked in this morning. Jim's constant companion, Jim Ash's constant. You know, if we didn't have Mr. Ash to push all these buttons, we wouldn't be on the air.
You're darn right. Poor Mabel would be bereft because that's the only person in captivity that she likes.
Well, we have a personality and we have, let me see.
Perspectives. Well, and a little bit of a politician.
Yeah, well, yeah, but let's don't put her in that grab bag because she's a pretty nice lady, so we don't just throw her in with the general politicians.
We'll consider her above the fray.
You know, Mrs. Bateman, and I'm going to have Judy make the official announcement, just to the introduction, but we always try to start Viewpoint with a kudo or two, individual or organization. So Judith came, I'm going to take a little co-host license this morning.
Yeah.
And I think my kudo today will be to our son Jeff, who makes it a point to come and dig out his dad and his neighbors, his dad's neighbors, with his tractor and his blade. So kudos to Jeff Gossett. Thanks, son. Neat thing to see you moving ring around. It was colder than a well digger, too.
It was. And here's Jeff, by golly. I live on a corner, and he does my driveway, and he does all up the side street, all down the front street. I could kiss him right on the cheek, but I'm afraid it would embarrass him.
I think it might embarrass him. Well, let's get down to serious business this morning. Well, that was pretty serious business.
It is. It's darn serious.
Right.
There's snow out there.
We have a very neat guest this morning, and we're going to talk a little bit about city affairs, so go right ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, Peggy Bateman, for being with us today.
Very nice.
You're city clerk and have been for a bit now.
Just since May 1.
Well, you got your feet wet.
Yes.
How's it going? Do you want to change your name and move to someplace else or what?
We've had our hands full. As you know, we've gone on to a new software system that they implemented after the previous...
Which has occupied tons of your time in order to get used to it.
Yes. If I have to set in another webinar one more time, that's all it is. You have to set and do webinars to learn how to do it, and then they come on property and they teach you more and stuff. It's been trying for everybody in the city clerk's office.
Well, they're very smart to have a young person in there because if they got somebody like me in there, they don't understand it at all. But do you like it? Are you feeling like you're at home?
Getting acclimated?
We're getting there. Yep, we're getting there.
And now they're discussing getting some help for you.
Correct.
Maybe they can attend the webinar.
Yeah. Well, actually, the Rachel that's actually is going to do that. She's been on the new system since October. The accounts payable part has been live on the new system since October, and she's getting the hang of it. And there's little things she's come upon that that needs explanation on this new software, but that part's doing real good, what she's doing on the new software.
Your predecessor did a really good job for the city for a number of years.
Correct.
And I'm pretty doggone sure that Susan didn't leave you any uncovered surprises.
No.
And she was probably very, very diligent in assisting you to get started.
Yes, she does.
And so we can make a kudos to Susan while we're doing this thing this morning. She gave the city a lot of good years of service, and we appreciated that.
Yes, she did. Mm-hmm.
Now, did you find any quick surprises having said that? Oh my gosh, I didn't know this happened, or oh, I didn't know we did that.
Yeah, there's been things that's come upon. I'm like, oh my, I didn't know the city did
We'll
this.
probably let the cat go out of the studio for just a minute, and then the cat will come back in another 10 minutes. We do a play-by-play on the cat up here. Go ahead, Peggy. What was the most overwhelming, not necessarily a problem, but thing that you faced as you came into this new job?
Well, I knew coming in that of the new software system, but it was a software system that was picked out prior to me coming in. Somebody else looked at it, bought it for the city, and I had to be the one to implement it. I have never done any of that before. I mean, I've always switched payroll systems and stuff, or software systems wherever I worked before. But from the ground up, moving forward, what you have to go through to make the changes, it was an eye opener for all of us. I mean, I had no idea that it was that intense of change.
A lot of in-depth,
Yes.
a lot of time. To initiate a new computer program, once you get over that hump and get it installed, then it becomes easier. But the implementation of it in a new system and a new employee, so to speak,
Right.
It's a combination. It can be pretty time-consuming.
Yes. And you have to bring all your data from the old system over into the new system.
Bit by bit.
Yes. And it's more than just flipping a switch and it's there. It's really a lot of detail. And then you got to make sure it's right when it gets there. So it's...
Yeah, once in.
Yeah.
Because if it goes in wrong, you're forever trying to get it straightened out.
Yes. Yes.
Well, in addition to this, trying to implement a whole new system, as a welcome gift, what else are your duties? You have to go to the meetings, I know that.
Yes.
Yes, but that's all we out here in Netherland see, is that you go to the meetings. We don't understand what all your job entails.
Going to the meeting is more than just, you got to get the stuff prepared for the meeting. And then after the meeting, breaking down those agenda packets and, sending off what you have to send off, or any paperwork that has to be filed with the county or whomever. All that has to be completed in a timely manner afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Now, there's a talk about hiring an assistant for you. Do you think that that's basically because of this new system?
No. The city was always, they were always busy. I think and I've known this from conversations with prior city clerk, with Susan. She was busy. You can't. Something's got to give. You can't give it your 100% all and letting stuff sit aside because there's no time. There's no time, and you're supposed to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to get something done, and so that's not good for anybody. No matter if you're a politician or if you're just anybody. That's not fair to anybody to have to, and things that just get set aside, you're gonna lose things that needs to be done, things that are top priority. You got to just basically prioritize.
I bet you do.
Yeah, and do what you can when you can, and hope you get everything done.
Yeah. Do you feel comfortable with all the issues that keep coming up and coming up and coming up? It must be awfully hard to keep all the balls in the air.
Yes.
She become a very competent juggler.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the not having a city administrator right now, Clay Johnson left in end of August, and he was a very intelligent person. I didn't get to work with him very long, but he knew the ins and outs of stuff, and that piece of the puzzle is gone now. So there for a short time we had a interim city administrator, which he did a very good job of picking up the slack after Clay left. But that is a big position there, and we're not, I don't want to say we're not educated.
Well, it's a different approach.
Correct.
A city administrator, that's what they do. And in my judgment, I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, we don't meet out here in Lincoln." Well, I beg to differ. We're handling a ton of money there, and you need somebody who's kind of an overseer of the entire ball game, knows who's on first and when to steal second. Seriously, there's just every day there are myriads of little things that need to be decided.
Yeah.
And I would guess Peggy, that you probably are the front door of the city in your position there. The mayor's not in his office all the time. That's not his job. There again, that's why we need a city administrator.
Mm-hmm.
You're the go-to person in City Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And as in that capacity, it has the doggone thing to do with the actual work that you have to do, but you have to get up and go to the counter and talk with people and answer questions, some of which are not very smart.
Right. Any complaint that goes on, they walk through the front door of the City Hall.
And there you are.
If it has anything to do with us or not, yes, anybody that answers the counter there, which everybody, helps somebody at the counter, gets to answer some of the questions.
I suspect it's pretty safe to say that every once in a while, or maybe frequently, somebody's pretty irate about not much at all.
Yeah.
As I say, you always quote old Bill Shakespeare, much ado about nothing.
Yeah.
I went to school with Bill.
Did you?
Yeah.
You play ball on his team? Yeah. Now, what's the pleasure of the council? Do they seem to feel that it's necessary to have a city administrator? Are they looking into it?
They are doing a GovTemp agency, basically the same agency that they found Clay Johnson in.
Uh-huh.
They're going through there to see if they can come up with a city administrator for the position. Yeah, and it's the process. They, get this place gets the applications and they kind of screen them, and then the council will interview and approve whom they want.
Judy and I had Clay up here on 2 or 3 or several occasions, and we always found him to be very forthright and very direct, give us lucid answers, and I always thought he was a pretty good interview up here. We definitely have to have somebody. I don't know how much money in total the budget in Coronas, but it's very, very significant. Mm-hmm. And you need somebody who can, for instance, just finding answers to mandated sewer problems, which is a terrible problem for us here in Lincoln, Illinois. They're going to have to do, we've been mandated, and probably rightly so, to do something about our waste treatment down there on the south side of town. Have you heard any talk? What's the talk about that, Peggy?
I myself don't know a whole lot about it, other than, like you said, we've been mandated.
Yeah, the EPA.
This has been going on for years, and we're getting down to the wire.
Hiding the cat behind the sofa,
yeah.
And finally the tail started wagging. They found it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's next year that they have to comply.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's coming up darn fast, and it's going to be darn expensive.
Yeah, time moves fast, so it's going to be here before we know it.
That's right. Yeah, they've got some work to do to get that implemented, and you can't just say, I'm sorry, I've been busy and I haven't gotten around to it. I don't know what they do. They can't just wipe you off the map.
No.
Let's tell us a little bit about Peggy Bateman, the city clerk. Before your background before you joined us in the city was what, Peggy?
I was one of the ones that was out at Myers Industries when MII was out there.
You worked with Jeff when he was on the floor out there.
I did payroll for Myers, and I was out there in 1985. After 17 and a half years, I got laid off at Myers, and that was when, shortly after that is when they went through all their
strife and turmoil, the
union thing and everything. I then went to Springfield, worked for Merrill's Contractors. I don't know if with Chuck Merrill. He's a Lincoln gentleman, if you might know him. I worked in the office there for Chuck, and then he closed his business, and then I went to the Crown Plaza in Springfield, where I was human resource manager, and I did payroll there for 9 years.
So you've been a money mover.
Yes.
For a long time.
Yes. I am tight with my money. You got to treat a business money like it's your own money. And I'm very tight with my own money, so I myself would treat the city money as tight too.
That's refreshing.
Well, hey, that is just wonderful.
That's refreshing.
I'm crazy about you. I think that you're the first politician in captivity who ever thought that way. Well, that's very healthy. Kind of Midwestern, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of it's a Norman Rockwell type thing.
Yeah, it is.
Americana at its best.
My husband would say, I can squeeze a nickel so tight the buffalo will jump through.
Well, hey,
I cleaned that
is
up, Norman,
wonderful.
right?
Boy, they got the right person in that office.
So, how big is your staff there?
We have Rachel Shue. She does the accounts payable. We got Julie Landers. She's the deputy clerk. Rachel came in April. Julie has been there. It was a year in September, I do believe, this past September. And then Chris Kaufman. She is in the sewer department. She was there just a year this past October. And then Ashley Davis. She helps Chris in the sewer.
You're all kind of newbies, aren't you?
Yes. So really, I'm not the only one learning here. Everybody is learning because of not being there that long, other than what Chris and Julie picked up just the short time they were there before Susan left. Everybody's new.
But that can be the good news and the bad news, because like when you get to be my age, you carry all this baggage with you. Huh?
Nobody gets to be your age.
Well, not very many. You carry all this baggage, well, I always thought, or well, I learned, and
this is the way we used to do it.
It's passé. Yeah, that's the way they used to do it.
We all did
so
it that
maybe you're lucky that you're all kind of starting from scratch, give or take several months.
Yeah.
So that you're learning together and you'll all be on the same page.
Right. And there might be things that has been going the same way for years and years, and it's about time, just change it up a little bit. Maybe it just needs a fresh set of eyes.
And that's no criticism of your predecessors at all.
No.
It's just that it's healthy to have a new outlook on things, because you would spot things that somebody else might just overlook.
Correct.
Because it's always been that way. I've always kind of laughed at us here in the Flatlands, because I think it's the Logan County war cry. Why do we do it this way? Well, we've always done it this way, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It occurs to me, Mrs. Bateman, that we have the advantage of having a pretty doggone good city treasurer across the hall from you.
Oh, yes.
And he has to be of immense help to you.
Yes.
And Mr. Conso is doing a very fine job. He's a Lester Plotner type. He did a good job, too, as you might
Yes.
remember.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
We call him our favorite bean counter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is good. You need somebody who's very good at that, and he is.
Yes.
And I'm not sure they always listen to his advice as well as they might ought, as they say. But it must be a help to you to have that knowledge so quick available to you across the hall.
Correct. And him being there like 8 years, he's the only one there that's got any time on him. I mean, he knows what happened years back. If something came up, he's familiar with it, and he remembers what they did. So yes, he's been a godsend.
You know what? We have a godsend up here. It's called sponsors. They keep these programs going. So we'll just take a few minutes and pay obeisance to them right now. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Ash. And we're right back live in the studios here at WLCN 96.3. The program, of course, is each Wednesday's program, Viewpoint, 8:15 to 0900 hours. Most of our guests are very anxious to have people call in. 648-5510. Our guest today is Peggy Bateman, our city clerk, doing a great job for you and all the rest of us taxpayers there. The city offices are in great shape with between she and Chuck Conso. They kind of keep the fibers going and send the feedback up to the councilman in the upstairs chambers, and hopefully things are operated correctly, and sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. That's just kind of the way it goes in city government.
In this life.
Peggy, let's address this trash, what I'll call them, trash pickup. And now that we're going to lose those two dumpsters there on Latham Park there, which I have really used religiously almost. because I believe in that recycling, and it's been very easy and very handy to go down there. That's not going to happen anymore. They will take it from your house, so I understand, in separate containers. And then they put it all in one big container and then separate it again. So I've never quite figured out how that... Could you kind of tell us what's going on there on the area disposal? And we have a contract with that firm. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Starting March 1st, those recycle bins on Kickapoo there will go away. And everyone can recycle at their home, which is convenient. You can do it right there at your house. You don't have to separate your items. You can just throw them all in your recycle bin. And they only ask to wash out glass jars or cans or stuff, from food before you put in there. And you can set it at your curbside every other week. Area will pick up the recycle part. And then for your trash, they'll pick up weekly. It's up to area where that is. Some people, their trash pickups in the alley, some's at the curbside. So if you're a new person with area could give you that information on what day they'll pick up. I can't think area will be changing the schedule too much because they had most of the town anyway. I currently have a Thursday pickup, so unless I hear otherwise, I'm going to bank on that Thursday pickup again. Everybody should have received a card in the mail where they mark which recycle bin and which trash bin they want. If you do not want to recycle, you just mark you do not want a recycle bin, and they won't bring you one. It's pretty, straightforward there. That goes March 1st. So I think the timeline on that is next week. Those cards have to be turned in.
Response is required by February 13th.
That's next week, yeah.
Well, I've always been a three-way recycler. I always take my glass up to, there's a very handy bin up there where the glass bottle factory is there on North Logan. And it's real handy to drive up there and pop the trunk open and dump your glass in that nice bin, and away you go. So that was separated. Then I've also made sure to keep the plastics in the big bin and the papers in the other bin. So somebody must have a job to recycle all that. So maybe it's created employment. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm the guilty one. I never did recycle. But I'm kind of looking forward to this where it's just going to be right there at my doorstep, and I'll just throw my newspapers, because those are the bulk of the stuff is these newspapers. On a weekly basis to throw in the recycle thing. So I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Now, I know that you're the Lincoln city clerk, but how about the people in the county? There was some talk when they first proposed all this about what will be their routine. Will they be part of area disposal, or what's happening?
The mandate's just on the city residents. It has nothing to do with county.
Whose mandate is it?
The city. It's a city ordinance for city residents. So if you're out in the county, this trash thing doesn't apply to them.
They'll continue as before.
As whatever
But to be clear, that service went out. The furnishing of that service went out for bids.
Correct.
And area was the low bidder on that. And it's a great service.
Yeah.
Now,
excuse me.
As you've working your way into your duties, Mrs. Bateman, I know you've had to put in a lot of extra time, and I think the public should know that. That's non-compensated, by the way.
No.
So, do you see any light at the end of that tunnel now? We have a new assistant that has been on board for a while anyway, doing those duties, but not an official assistant.
Right.
Do you see any light at the tunnel as far as your workload is concerned?
It'll be a while, because due to the
It's a long tunnel.
Yeah, with this still the computer system going on, it's going to be a little while, but it might not be as bad it has been.
Essentially, what does this software program do for you and for the city, for the citizens of the city?
It's just a regular software. It's you put your payables in, you put your receivables in, you do your payroll out of it.
All of the mechanics that go on that require a pen and pencil and graphs and lines and so forth will go into the computer.
Right. But just because it's a newer, updated computer system based on what they did have from the 80s, doesn't mean your time is going to be cut in half. There's still, it takes the time to do everything. It's just not like it's going to solve all the problem. It's just more little friendlier than the other system was.
Well, the thing of it is, the person who's the input person has got to be very precise about that.
Yeah.
Because if an I is dotted in the wrong place, it's not going to work.
Right.
And a computer picks that up very quickly.
Yeah.
Are you going to be all right, or are we going to have to call 911?
I think we'll call 911. I was like to go back to this garbage, if you may.
Well, I didn't know you were French.
Yeah, I am from Norway. Now, you're supposed to choose the size trash bin you want.
Uh-huh.
And when you do that, there's no charge, it says.
Right. The bin itself is free. They're both bins. The recycle bin and your trash bin. That's totally free. You're not paying anything for the bin.
Now, is it that they're going to be the kind of trash bin that the truck can pick up and dump? Is that the deal?
That they're made for that, yes.
Uh-huh.
Now, if area has the trucks that does that, I have no idea.
Uh-huh.
But there's people throughout town, if you see, they have those same toters
right
now, and maybe they pay for them on their own. I don't know, but that was then. So, so you kind of know what the toter kind of looks like by other
what if
people.
you don't reply by the 13th of February? Do you just use your old cans?
No, from what I understand, if you do not reply, they will bring you a toter.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
They will bring you a toter, and if it's a toter size you don't want, you will have to pay to swap it out.
Well,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
forewarned is forearmed, right?
Uh-huh.
So you better get out your postcard and send it in.
And for the senior citizens, they do get a discount. In fact, if you are an area customer currently and you're a senior citizen, come March 1st, you'll be actually saving $1 a month, because the rate for senior citizens under the new contract will be $1 less than what you're paying right now.
Is that right? And
Yeah.
a new garbage can to boot.
And a new garbage
And
can.
we're going to be senior citizens before you know it, aren't we?
I'm working on that. Peggy, boy, that stopped me. So,
And that's everybody. That's all seniors. It doesn't matter if you were an area customer before or not. That's all seniors, which with area at 65 years of age, gets the senior discount.
Well, I'll be darned.
Yeah. So if you're 64 right now and you're going to turn 65 in August, you have to contact area that you now are a senior.
it's coming for you, Jim.
It just doesn't go automatically.
There is no contact needed, though, if you've been a customer. Is that right?
For the senior discount?
Yeah.
Area told me that as long as you were already receiving the senior discount, no, you do not have to do anything. But there has been an issue come up where there was one person that we know of that all along they were not getting the senior discount. Just a fluke. So just make sure you're already receiving a senior discount. Or you can just call area and just verify.
That would.
I'll say this about area: they're
dependable.
The men that they have out there, any kind of weather, day in, day out, they're very nice. They do a great job. They don't answer their email very well. As a matter of fact, they don't answer it at all. So I'm going to have to use a phone call today to straighten things out. I'm trying to get an address change. But in any event, the people they have out on the street are They're good folks. And I might add, it doesn't take a smart person, though. That's a pretty onerous job. Mm-hmm. That's really not an easy job.
No.
Now, what's your most immediate pressing need, Mrs. Bateman, there?
For
more time? Do you need any? Do you have people come in whose software that you're now using? People come in to assist you there on that. Is that part of their service?
Yes. In fact, right this week we have the gentleman with the software that's doing the sewer part of the software.
Good luck to that.
He's with the girls all week this week, and they're it's the new software part of it of the sewer, and they're excited because their life is going to be a little easier on that, the things that they can actually see. Because right now, you can only look up a sewer person a particular way. Well, with the new software, you can do it all kinds of ways and find them. You don't need that account number. You can look up all kinds of ways to find them. So they're excited about that.
Whatever did we do in this world before they invented computers?
It was called pen and pencil.
Yeah.
And
now, when the new city administrator comes, will that relieve you of some of this worry?
I think so. Yeah. There's a lot of things that once a new city administrator comes in, because everybody's got to take a piece of it.
Are they working on that?
Yes. They're trying. They're working on it.
Okay. When people say they're trying, I always say, yes, they're very trying, but are they going to do anything about it?
Tell me, do you foresee any, are you working on any problems that just seem to be real tough to solve right now? Coming from the council chambers to your routine duties, what's the most onerous thing that you have to do during the course of a day? Say good morning to the mayor, be nice and polite.
The day goes so fast. I cannot believe the time just flies.
Well, they always say busy hands are happy hands. Yeah. You should be a happy girl.
But there's lots of times on there by 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. City Hall doesn't open till 9, but it's like before I know it, it's noon. I'm like, and what did I do? It's like you just keep spinning your wheels, and you just feel like you don't get nothing accomplished. There's always something coming up, and I think that's what prolongs things getting done, is because you just got to stop what you're doing and deal with something else, and you just have to put it aside.
It takes, I think, an awfully special person to deal with the public day in and day out, because some of us get up on the wrong side of the bed once in a while,
And we're all guilty of that.
And so the first thing you do is strike out at somebody. And if you're the first errand on their list, you could get it.
Yeah.
I've experienced that on Wednesday mornings when I pick her up to bring her up.
Yeah.
The alderman, and again I'm going to use that generic term alderman. I see the mayor, Trudeau up there in Canada once called people kind. How damn dumb can you get?
People what?
People instead of mankind.
People kind?
That's not gender sensitive, mankind.
Where do you get the idea people were kind?
Well, there again is another story.
Yeah.
But do you have the alderman come to you for questions and or advice and so forth as they're studying issues?
Yeah, we got some new aldermen, and since there isn't a city administrator, they might shoot me an email, or need a sounding board or something, or to that effect. And it happens, because they're trying to figure out what to do too, on the next step of stuff. But
I have a question posed here, and it's been pretty clear, so somebody's not reading very well. It says, or listening, as the case may be, how much will it cost per month for garbage collection, and can area adjust the price based on rising fuel cost? In other words, if they're, fuel costs being what they are, do they have the right to increase their rate?
Just as March 1st, the monthly rates for all residents, not seniors, just the ones that are not seniors.
Common residents like
Yes.
Jim Ash.
Yes. It's $15.17 a month. The senior monthly amount will be $13.50 a month. They bill quarterly, and on your bill you will not see administrative fee, you will not see fuel cost charge, or that you see
it's just a
now.
flat fee.
You will not see that at all. I believe in the original talk with them, if fuel would go extremely way out there, I mean, just unbelievable, out of control, yes, they can come back and revisit this monthly rate.
That seems reasonable.
Right.
After
But we're hoping fuel price doesn't go sky high, and that happened. But yes, you would just have that flat rate, no changes.
My word, that's awfully inexpensive when you think about what in the world would you do
Yeah.
if they weren't coming by every Tuesday at our house.
Oh, we'd be in a mill of a house, as they say.
A mill of a house,
Yeah, no
yes.
question about that at all.
And we do have homes in town that are not occupied. Either they're being redone or whatever the case may be. So if you have a property that's not livable right now, that's totally empty, of course, that address does not require to have trash. So you would need to go, you can head in the city clerk's office, or you can go to the building and zoning, which is out at the new street and alley department there behind Precision Products, and you can fill out a form and with the address, and Wes Woodhall will sign off if you're exempt. But he has to, him being the building zoning person, he has to give the approval that, yes, this is an unoccupied house, you're exempt from the trash.
Now, I was talking to a lady who had a dumpster, and so they put their garbage in there besides the stuff, and now they'll, under the new plan, they'll have to pay for garbage service at their home as well.
Did they have the dumpster because they had a business?
Uh-huh.
Okay, there's another that works the same way as the unoccupied things. They fill out a form of their business if they want to opt out of their residential, if they live here in town or in Lincoln, and they can opt out of their home and they can put their residential trash in their business dumpster. But that is only if you are the owner of that business. The business can't let all their employees put their trash in the business dumpster.
Right.
Only the owner of the business can opt out of his residential. And same thing, fill out a form, Wes Woodhall will sign off on it. We send those off to area, and area will mark them exempt.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. There'll be people who'll be happy about that. Now, what about, they talked early on when they first were presenting these ideas about renters. Who's responsible, the owner of the property or the person who lives at the property?
At the end of the day, the owner of the house is fully responsible. But it is up to the landlord if he wants to just tell the renter, you pay for your trash, you do it on your own. Or the landlord could actually pay for the trash, and if he wants to pass that on into the rent, that's totally up to them. Okay. But as the owner of the property, they are responsible to make sure their tenant has trash service.
Well, is there any record, I suppose there has to be, of who lives in the house as opposed to who owns the house? A lot of people rent.
Yes, and I believe when area got the mailing list from the city, I think that was all taken care of then on that.
The fact of the matter is, we have to have that. Can you see what your curb is going to look like or your alley will look like without those?
Yeah.
I would say to you, I recall one famous incident, Judy and Jim, where there was a trash that was next to the golf course there, or it was a golf course's property, and one of the individuals who lived in the property next to the golf course was walking across every morning and dumping his own trash into the Elks disposal.
Well, we got to save money where we can, you know.
But the good thing is, the city is, with this contract, the city will have 2 citywide cleanups a year.
Oh, you can put out your dresser
Go back,
or whatever?
back to the years ago when they had the citywide
Yes.
cleanup. And we've already reached out to area, and they've gave us 2 dates, or not dates, but like June and October.
Right.
They gave us a time frame, and we haven't locked that time in yet. But that's another good thing, that you'll have your
that
citywide
makes the
cleanup again.
curbside shoppers very
Yes.
happy. In fact, we got a dresser that was sitting out there and asked the lady, and she said, "Yeah, you can have it. My daughter has it, and she's proud."
Well, it's been everybody's experience. If you put something alongside the curb, sometime within the next few days, it'll be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you have to do is put free on it. It's
Which
gone.
is a good thing. Peggy Bateman, you've been very kind
Thank
with
you.
your time this morning. We appreciate your coming up and sharing with the voters and the citizens of Lincoln the rather profound duties of the city clerk. They are numerous, and they are very time demanding. We appreciate the fact you take a little time off to come up with us. We always try to close Viewpoint with some program about the slogan or saying about the subject matter. And the subject matter today is essentially life in a small city. And Truman Capote, famous author, said,
Yes.
"Fame is good for one thing. They'll cash your check in a small town." Thank you, Peggy Bateman.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.